Ba-dum. Oh, ha! There you are. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for stopping by and sharing a little time with me. About to build another something from nothing. Looking for a good excuse to take .NET 8 on a lovely jaunt and gonna rebuild an old classic, something I've built a couple of times over the last decades. So I'm pretty familiar with the general topic. And I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm going to try to do a really nice job. And as we turn these corners together, we'll explore like what is fast and what is good and what is great and where's the balance. And we're going to tackle all the problems, hopefully in a useful order. We're going to get something flowing, the ability to produce a worthy, valuable set of outcomes that somebody can begin practicing and using, and then we're going to iterate on those until there is a full, healthy MVP that we could go ahead and go to market with. This particular bird's eye view, let's zoom out a little bit, but like I said, we're going to do the whole thing. We're going to at least set ourselves up for success by applying what we do know. In terms of design patterns and kind of breaking apart the problem set so that we can build a beautiful solution set. In our first drawing, like I wanted to start recording pretty early, I've just started to get some words out on a page. That's it. If you've seen some of the other videos, we've been playing a little bit in Excel spreadsheets and kind of ideating on what we might deliver, the problems we'll solve in what order, so that we can get to market early and often, and quickly get to a place that we have something really, really fantastic and delicious to share. Conceptually, let's meet the domain. Let's meet some of what's going on here. In particular, we're thinking about the live voting component first. And the live voting world, if it were to kind of close, put the blinders on and not look left or right, just thinking about itself, being a little selfish, it knows it's going to have some sense of room and some sense of sessions, polls, questions, question answers, and participants voting, playing along. Now, this might have started a tall single list. It didn't, but when you're first thinking up things, don't edit at the exact same time as you author. Right? Get the ideas out there, get the list together, then go back and do some grouping and sorting and affinity mapping and make it delicious. So in this case, as topics came up, and I was like, well, this thing actually is also going to need to know a known user sometimes so that there can be a room host or a co-host, etc. But that's not its problem, right? It should be more participating and receiving that goodness. The source of truth of that is going to be somewhere else, something that we'd like to encapsulate in this project in a way that future projects could probably just use it, right? And we'll learn more about what that means as we build this thing very modular and very, very beautiful. So we can kind of plug and play it. We keep going. We're like, oh, well, that host needed to be able to buy something to get there. Let's pin that idea. That's going to be some other financial system, and it's going to be smart about financial system stuff, and it will internally extend that smarts to get us to this moment where we can play along. The idea of a room is a higher level concept than just this one module or just this one moment. So again, just push pinning some verbs and getting some domain language out in front of us. Everything deserves at least a little push pin out there in the physical universe. So we know, and I was being silly, we'll see how much of this makes V1 or V2 even, but at some point we can have live rooms. As live rooms open and close, we have a sense of live room sessions. While people are participating in those live rooms, there are different kinds of built-in mechanics that may or may not get expressed early that allow, maybe there's 1,000 people connected to the room, and there's a component we've built that hovers around zero, but during different moments, the participants might lift that up or pull it down to designate some sort of an increased or decreased response or joy. And then it begins to move back towards zero again, right? And so if they want it to stay up or down, they'd have to keep interacting with it. Anyway, we'll get into all the particulars. I think it all makes sense. There will be room participants. There's a moment where we might be looking to pull room participant contact info together, room token, which needs to move up here to room, and it's really just an extension of room. We'll see if that what that looks like as we evolve it together. All right, and then room staff so that we can have like co-hosts and do all that kind of stuff. Super cool, super cool. All right, now I'm gonna move these and forever hold our peace. I don't, again, lots of things may change, but I'm actually gonna take these up here. I'm going to put these under the sense of core modules that the system will come to know things about, and it can be expected that if these core modules were turned on, so to speak, that those behaviors could be incorporated in both the common UIs and the lazy modules and final products around WebAssembly or Maui or however it all builds together. In the end, folks can count on some of the core modules being there, but then there should be no direct dependency on these lazy modules. We can have one, we can have 50, we can decide if someone consuming this application deserves a module. Ultimately, we're going to lazy load these, so we're going to build a system that helps us with that. So, how to begin, how to pick that thinnest layer that is going to get us where we want to go. Let's try. And what I really wanted to do with all of these was not sprint one. So we're going to go through. Let me just one more lap here to see if we like the order. Learn about the product, create a live room. I want to feel good about it. I want to share it. I want to open it. All right. Let's go. Let's see if we can copy anything out of here. What does that feel like? Okay. Let's up all the coloring. Let's pick a color and then maybe we'll make meaningful choices later. This is just lovely. Just lovely. Got some plumbing in our way as a team, as an engineering team, ready to deliver on something. There's a little bit of pre-work we know we got to deal with. We're going to try to get that out of the way as fast as we can. The end result there will be just a running, deployable site that has some support for some of these basic concepts around logging and being authorized or not being authorized. Then we're going to step in to be able to create a room. We're going to step in and be able to create a question like, oh, let's get it. See you on the flip. Cheers. Ta-da. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's good to see you again. In preparation for the build ahead, there is, just some things I'd like to chisel out, right? We're going to build something really cool out of a giant piece of wood, and right now we're just going to take some big cuts off and kind of start to get the biggest shape in play, and then we'll go do some fine-tuning cuts. Let's break some of this apart. I think there's a parallel effort I'm going to record to continue focusing on improving the development of the backlog and some of those pieces, but really want to continue to emphasize this is a language of the problem, not the solution. It is a specific domain language, problem, challenge, opportunity, tangible outcome. like, And right now, in its first pass, very early, we just started playing with the backlog recordings. It's still quite high level. It still has not had an appropriate amount of leaning into and thinking about it by people who are likely to do the work in or concert with the business and analysts, I mean, everybody that can help us better understand the problem, challenge, opportunity. That is the real work. That is what your backlog should be full of. That's what you should be prioritizing, etc. I'm not doing the backlog training here. So, as someone building this as a team of one, I don't know that I would go a whole lot further. I don't need to go a lot further. This physical manifestation of the ideas and the concepts, and giving them each at least a post-it note. Everything we're ever going to do, it deserves at least a post-it note. Can't just leave that in your brains and try to think 5 or 10 or 40 people somehow share that vision correctly. I'm going to come back to the sales and marketing, but I love and I'm very grateful it found its way into the first slot. Until this, reduce the desire to build this, and in a very diminishing fashion until you have very little desire or investment or um, giant brain space set up for all this stuff. We're right here. As an interested buyer, I want to be able to hit a sales landing page. Now, if you listen, I want to hit a sales landing page. That's a solution. If we only peddle the problem, what do you really want? I want to learn about stuff, products or prices, custom builds, special events. Why? I want to move to that next step in my purchasing decision. If this is what we peddle, then we're going to defer the solution language. It may end up an optimized sales landing page. It may end up some social fodder. It may end up something wickedly different than those things because we're letting the magic work. We don't say here, as a buyer, I want to see a sales landing page. That is solution language. Fall in love with the problem. Ah! All right. I'm going to skip this one first for a minute. We'll come back to the sales and marketing. As a room host, I want to create a live room so I can host anonymous participants. Okay, lovely. Depending on what order it found itself in, had this not been the second thing we're building, what we're about to do would look a little different, right? Order absolutely matters. So I'm gonna bring this over here, and I'm gonna show you what I think it might look like to break it down. Okay. Now, most are already struggling not to change this to solution language and tasks and activities and blah blah blah. I'm gonna show you, still not gonna do that, right? What are the interesting parts of this problem I can observe that are outcomes in the way, outcomes ahead of and to deliver on, maybe even after, before someone could take this and say, "Oh my gosh, I did it! Thank you so much, I loved it, I want another, help me, yeah, yeah, yeah!" Right before anybody gets that is what the business should be asking the delivery team to do. Take this to done, 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 and then let's go to the next one. Right, done is I saw it work once. We ship a lot of that. That's sad. Done, done, not we, but all of us as an industry. Done, done is, yeah, it works really well. I've seen it work a lot, and we have tests, right? So there are automated tests that continue to increase our uh, comfort that that is still working and works as intended, and those tests are part of our big vocabulary, our dictionary of our language that self-describes everything going on. So love it. Now I can't just, as with so many of these, I can't just hand this to you. I can't take one brushstroke and deliver this. So what logically might I do? Well, the first thing, if a user want to do this, maybe we start by just flowing out the user's experience in this regard. So, um, and I'm going to be on purpose here and not force myself to say it in the right order, right? That's not the point. I don't need to make a perfect list that reads left to right. I need to get my ideas out there. Then I can worry about grouping, sorting, digesting, fixing, improving. So in medium strokes, I logged into the site, created a new room, visited new room endpoint, visited the new room. Um, Okay. So that's pretty big. I logged in the site, I created a new room, I visited a new room. There are some other things that, we don't have yet. Visited the site. I'll just stay there for a minute. Ah, yeah, okay, that's true. I did have to visit the site. Then I could log into the site. Then I was able to create a new room, and then I visited my room. Okay, that's that's a nice breakdown. And these are healthy backlog items. These are part of a wish list of things that I wish my software did today, but it doesn't. And these are things not yet solved for. Again, I mentioned depends on where this falls in the scheme of things. So in order to visit a site, I have to have a site published. So we're going to need to tackle first and foremost the ability to publish a site. Then I need to, when did that happen? I wanted to log into the site. Well, we don't have a site. We certainly don't have identity management built up yet. And now that I logged into the site, I'm going to create a room. We definitely don't have a new room button or whatever that ends up being. Like, the solution is still completely vacant from our backlog, and that's wonderful. Now, as a delivery team, this decomposition might be useful. Maybe we want to celebrate the little wins together, and by taking these much smaller change sets into our source code, we're gonna have a lot less drama. It's very knowable the desired outcomes. And so when we're doing code reviews and when we're evaluating and refactoring the quality of what we've delivered, and since it's early, deciding on some of the level of quality and metrics and measures, we're just solving this one together. If there are 5 people on the team, let's send everybody to working on this one. The entire team, as many people as could possibly add value, staying right here. Mm, all right. So we also recognize, like we think, we hope, we'd like to be able to deliver all of this in a single sprint, or maybe there's a larger decomposition that we need to tackle. Let's say ours are going to be 1 week sprints. Do we think we can get a blank site up? And we have to decide there are other concepts in there that we're going to minimally invest in on the way by. And we're going to need to put that investment into that charge account for that piece of behavior or functionality. And then later we're going to invest in it more. Do we turn on user analytics now? Are we going to support multiple languages? And do we go ahead and set up all the ability to change between languages right now? Are we going to set up multi-tenancy, and are we going to fully express everything we're ever going to want out of multi-tenancy for our MVP right now? No. Those things are true. We're gonna probably add those details, and as we move past those, we're gonna take a moment to work as a unit. We all are gonna add a little bit more wisdom to some of those other moments, flesh out a little more of the problems, opportunities, and challenges we observe that we're going to want to invest in more later. Let's push pin some of those thoughts while they're fresh in our minds. We're kind of getting them pinned up, grow our product backlog, and above all, begin practicing our language. As a delivery team, if we thought we could get a minimal investment through launching a site, also getting it published, so we're going to need to containerize and publish and put into a pipeline, right? All things we know we're going to need to do. If we as a delivery team decide some of that eventual level of solutioning deserves, needs, or benefits paperwork, then let us decompose that during sprint planning part 2 and as we get in, working these items in our sprints to the degree that it's useful. And certainly don't go put it back in your main tool where everybody's trying to organize and prioritize and negotiate around the problem domain. Don't fill that with solution domain stuff that ultimately becomes kind of a bleed back up, and now you got the business way down here, and it's very, very messy. So I don't like that. Team, feel free, right? If you're co-located, I am positive your room is going to be decorated with posters and sticky notes upon sticky notes and progress and a fun bell to ring. You're like, if you're remote, everything deserves a sticky note sized investment in arranging it in the physical space of our minds in a shared way so we all can understand it, and we're learning how to say the same words to mean the same thing. All right, so here kind of the flow the user went through. And as I mentioned, this decomposition could continue into perpetuity, but I would definitely start changing tools or um, where and when that happened and who had like there's no value in coming together every day to inform anyone not of the team about the last 24 hours. Get out of here. Let the team execute their work and their sprints and get really good at supporting the team while they're executing and getting your needs met at the ends and beginnings of sprints, as well as during some of those pre-allotted time periods, um, backlog refinement, or used to call it grooming, these sorts of things. Mm. And the product owner should have, in business writ large, about a 5% budget for each sprint, where they're able to ask the team, hey, at some point here shortly today, I try not to be evasive, but hey, team, I could use an hour. And the team would look at their account and go, oh, yeah, you have not used any of your 5% budget this sprint. We would love to pause and give you our full attention and try to help you get your needs met. But really focus on the ends and beginnings of sprints, the bookends to the sprint, the tables turn. And now the team is really leaned in trying to help the business get its needs met and vice versa. So good. I'm going to pin some of those questions we'd asked and we'll get out of here again. You see, we've driven the conversation, and now all involved are going to go on a journey of getting wiser and wiser together. And they're learning about the problem so that they can decide on how much and what kind of solutioning. But mm, lovely. And this decomposition, right? To what point? Where do you draw the line? Mostly just pay a ton of attention. Make it a very obvious line in the sand between problem domain and solution domain language. So we'll see where I land. For the sake of argument, I'm going to attempt all of this in a first sprint, but that definitely means I'm going to have to learn how to invest minimally and take great notes and use this to really evolve our knowledge, like almost every sprint, everything we do, especially early in a project. A huge part of the goal is to evolve our knowledge and our understanding and keep the solutioning light and flexible. And as we do this radical learning, make sure it's very easy for us to have been wrong and change our minds and do things differently. High five. See you over there. Ba-dum-bum.